everyone. Welcome to the show. So it was another interesting day for Donald Trump's DJT stock. Actually, it's been a pretty interesting week. So last week, the stock rallied a bit after Trump announced that he wasn't going to sell his stock. I personally don't believe him, wouldn't believe that man ever, ever. If he said grass is green, no, it's not. It's definitely a different color. So, but it rallied. News outlets beclowned themselves completely. They had headlines like, "Oh, Trump stock skyrockets after announcement." It increased like $2. It was back in basically like the high $17 range, as you see here. That is not exactly skyrocketing, right? I mean, considering that this stock has lost about 75% of its value since it went public earlier this year. Remember, I always tell you guys, it hit almost $80 a share. So yeah, skyrocketing. I mean, that would mean, oh, it's back to that level. No. So in any case, this so-called surge didn't last long. The past couple of days, it was bouncing around in the high $16 to low $17 area. Well, today it dropped. It dropped back down to this low that you see here. For those on the podcast, it hit a low of $16.10. So that's not the lowest that it's been this year. As you guys know, if you've been following my show, I shared with you a while back, just maybe a couple weeks ago, it fell all the way down to $15.46. That was on September 12th. So today wasn't that bad, except for the fact that the stock started off in January of this year at only $16.16. So all 2024 gains have been erased, including that major growth that they had after the stock went public. And in fact, according to investor outlet, investor.com news outlet, DJT stock, the investors have lost a collective $9.8 billion. Huge, huge loss. I mean, some people put their entire life savings into this. And then what's clear is that this stock is rising and falling based on what's going on with Trump, whether it's personally, politically, like I've shared before, it shot up which probably a bad choice of words, but after his Pennsylvania rally where he was shot, the stock ticked up, let's put it that way. And then it fell back down. And then, after the debate, it plummeted and came back. And then now it's down again. And, it's just all over the map. And so right now, it's not looking good for him politically. So, yeah, it's obviously, I mean, you would think, oh, it's going to rally because he was almost shot again, blah, blah, blah. But no, I mean, I think there's probably it's kind of a sick thing to think, but there's probably a contingent of people out there going, wow, we've now had 2 attempts on his life. There's probably more copycats out there, and now people are seeing how easy it is to get to him. So there could be more would-be assassins, and you've got news reports about Iran out there gunning for him, literally, that they are trying to get him assassinated. So yeah, I mean, will he make it to the election? And like I said, things are not looking good for him in the polling. So for example, a morning consult poll was just published this morning, and it shows Kamala Harris with a 6-point national lead over Trump since the debate. And this was a larger than normal sample size. It included more than 11,000 likely voters. And this poll has only a 1% margin of error. So well outside of the margin of error. And Morning Consult, they only include registered voters who say that they're highly likely or definitely likely to vote in November. So if they gave them a scale of 1 to 10. So if it was from an 8 to a 10, they were included. If it was people who were like, yeah, maybe I'll vote, or probably not, they weren't even included. So this isn't just random people who aren't even that engaged or aren't going to show up to cast a ballot. There was also a very exciting poll out of an all-important swing state, you may have heard of it, Pennsylvania, in a USA Today Suffolk poll, or Suffolk University poll. Harris is leading Trump 49 to 46% among likely voters. So a 4-point or a 3-point gap there. The margin of error is a bit wider in this one, though. It's 4.4 points. So, you know, could be outside of the norm. But what was encouraging about this poll is that it shows Harris with a massive advantage with female voters in that state. So Harris is at 56% and Trump is at only 39% with Pennsylvania women. So almost 20 points ahead, a 20-point advantage. Yet Trump is only leading with men by a smaller margin. So he leads 53% to 41%. And one Pennsylvania voter, it's a 55-year-old female, she told USA Today, quote, "Besides the fact that she's totally qualified, she's decent and confident, and democracy is at stake, I don't know if I can stomach another 4 years of this idiot. It's just the uncouthness. You're constantly on edge." So obviously talking about Trump. And then another person, a 62-year-old male voter, told USA Today, quote, "I support Kamala Harris because I believe she's got her head on straight. Kamala has enough experience and is grounded enough that she would not put the country in danger. And I'm fearful that Trump could potentially do that." But the most exciting part of this poll is how Harris is outperforming Biden from 2020. So, for example, in 2020, Biden beat Trump by only 1% in Erie County, Pennsylvania. Harris is leading Trump by 4% in that same county. Biden also won Northampton County by only 1%. Harris is leading in that county by 5%, according to this latest poll. So really, really encouraging. Another highly rated poll out of Iowa should also concern Republicans. Now, Harris isn't winning Iowa. No one expects her to win the state. Probably not. I mean, it would be like unicorn moment if that happened. But she has eroded Trump's massive lead from when Joe Biden was the nominee. So when Biden was in the race, Trump was leading by 18% in that state. She has cut that down to only 4%. Major, major change. And 80% of the respondents, or I should say the ones who are supporting her, say that they are either extremely or very enthusiastic about her candidacy, whereas with Trump, only 74% of his voters said, yeah, I'm very excited about him. And here's what makes this poll so accurate and why it's so respected. This survey, which is run by Ann Selzer, they only include people who say that they are definitely going to vote in the election. So, definitely coming out, not these people who are like, maybe, I am absolutely going to vote. And then once again, in the same poll, we see a massive gender divide. So Trump has a 27-point lead with men, and then Harris is leading in this poll, but with women by 17%. Now, not as good as I'd hoped with women, but again, no one expects her to win Iowa, right? This is a solidly red state at this point. But this also brought me some hope. Fox News is now saying that Harris has the edge over Trump in this election. And the reason they're giving is that they have moved Georgia and North Carolina to toss-up states because she's doing so much better in the polling there. Now, overall, Trump is still leading by a little bit in Georgia, but Harris is now leading in quite a few polls by, 1-2% in North Carolina. And of course, you have that psycho running for governor who is definitely dragging down the ticket and making people rethink the whole MAGA thing. So, yeah. Well, Mr., some people need killing, that guy. Yeah. So, women need to keep their legs shut. And, oh, abortion was fine for my wife, but not for anybody else. That guy. Anyway, I will let you know when I hear more. There's some fun stuff that I will get to in another segment later this week. But yeah, just to give you a little teaser, they asked people of words that made them think of Trump. They gave them like a whole list of words to choose from. And one of the top picks was old. So not what Trump wants people thinking of him. How the tables have turned, right? How the worm has turned. All right. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you possibly can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.